this is an exercise anybody can do at home themselves, and with a little practice you can improve. It develops your concentration, it develops your balance. You've got to use your hands to help out. Right, off you go and try it. Now if you're very good at the exercise, you can try holding your head up. Let's see if you can do the exercise without even looking at the ball, as you have to do in a game when you're carrying the ball at times. You have to be able to see other players. You can't run around with your head down. Come on, develop a touch, develop a feel for the ball. Make it do what you want. Try and put backspin on it so it curls back up to yourself again. Use both feet. And use your hands to balance. This also helps to keep your head steady, this exercise, which you have to do in most of the skills in Gaelic. Okay, good. First man, just circle the ball around your back, out round the cone, hand it to the next person, he goes. If there isn't enough cones, make a group of 3, it doesn't really matter, just fill in lines here behind the cone. First man, away you go, or if you have another ball, away you go, circle the ball around the back. Now, this develops feeling the fingers with the ball, good warm-up activity. Helps to develop touch in the ball. Always be aware of where the ball is in relation to your own body. And change direction, don't always go the one direction. Come on, build up both hands, build up your confidence. Circling the body with the ball. Again, this develops touch and feel in the hands, upper body. Next time in, change it up over your head, tapping from one hand to the other as you go out round the cones. Quite difficult to run without your hands, believe it or not. Try and concentrate on the ball. Feel comfortable with the ball at all times. Make it do what you want. Be in control of the situation. Okay, change the solo. Away we go. Toe tap the ball out round it. Keep in control of the ball. Now don't get into the habit of toe tapping the ball for the sake of toe tapping the ball. The rules allow you to take 4 steps, so take 4 steps in the game situation. And learn to toe tap with the weak foot. Let's have a go with the weak foot to see how we get on. Well, learn to develop both feet while soloing, same as all the other activities. Keep control, Kieran. Well, if you're on a solo run in a game and you lose control of the ball, you lose possession. It's a potential opportunity for the other team to get a score. And a point against you can be crucial at any stage. Might be the difference in winning or losing. So it's very important to keep control of the ball at all times. And to be able to do it with your right foot and your left foot, because when you'll be beating an opponent later on, some of the forwards, you have to be able to protect the ball as you pass a player. So you need to be able to solo with both feet. Okay, that's good. All right, take a rest.
Canavan in possession, turning inside, burns the fullback, trying to go him again.
In defending as an individual, there's a few key things you need to consider. First of all, your stance. When you're standing as an individual, if you stand square on and the attacker hits you there, you'll fall back, you have no balance. So it's very important to have your feet, John, first of all, one foot in front of the other like that, knee slightly flexed, so that you can move quite easily backwards and forwards, all right, in defensive position. Secondly, it's important to have your hands out. Invite your opponent to go one particular way, whether it's that way or that way there, depending on your position on the pitch. If you're in a central position, you obviously want your opponent to go down the wing. You don't want him to get into the high percentage scoring area, which is in front of the goals. So therefore you're going to invite him to go down the wing. Try and show him wide. The object of this exercise is to try and stop your opponent going through those two cones there. Okay? If you can do that, show him outside the two cones, then you have your job done. Now, if he's a very fast player, then you may, if he's coming at speed, you may have to back off him and de-accelerate him to some degree, okay? If you go diving into him, if he shows you a dummy, he's gone and you're buying fresh air. So it's very important, if he's coming at speed, that you gradually sag off him a little bit, okay? What we're trying to do basically here is we're trying to make his play predictable. We're trying to force him down the wing. If we can get him down the wing, there's only one way we can attack that goals, and that's that way there. If he comes down the centre, as an attacker, he's an option both right and left to pass the ball. Do you understand? Okay? So the whole idea is to make the play predictable by forcing him down the wing. If we know, for example, that he's left-footed, as most players would know their opposite numbers nowadays, if you know that he has a particular good foot, then try and force him onto his weak foot, if you don't want him to go down the wing. Okay? Right, away we go, Shane. That's better, John. Good. Good. Wait till he toe taps it. All right, good. Right, Jason. All right, at least you showed him wide, though he got past you. Right, Mickey. Come on, Mark. Good defence now. Balance. That's it. Watch the centre of his body. Good. Now, another thing we can do in individual defence is the player, even if he beats you or when he's coming at you, will at some stage try to pass the ball or try to kick the ball or maybe fist pass the ball to a teammate or maybe go for a score. So when the ball is released in that instance, you have another opportunity to try and win the ball. You have an opportunity to win the ball when he's coming at you. You can knock it away when he toe taps the ball. You can knock it away if he bounces the ball. You can also try and get possession of the ball by blocking it. Now, the whole purpose of defence really is to try and win the ball back again. All right, the other team have the ball, so we have to try and get it back again. Try not to concede a score, of course, and try and win the ball back again.
Looking to try and make space here for Martin Toy. Good little run, try to get inside McKeever. Super block.
Now in the block, the key things in the block is, first of all, to get down as low as possible onto the boot as the ball is being kicked. And also to spread your fingers as wide as possible. The bigger the barrier you can make, the better on the ball. Okay? There's no point in having your hands together. It's important to have your hands wide. And the further down in the boot you can go, the easier it is on yourself to block a ball. If you're blocking the ball up here, there's a certain amount of power and velocity in the ball, and it's much harder to block. So get down as much as you can on the boot of the player. That's the first thing. Also, it's very important to keep your eyes open, because if you have a very smart forward, he could, as you go to block the ball, he could toe tap the ball to himself, a little dummy, and you're buying fresh air and he's gone and he's put the ball over the bar or passed to a teammate. So it's very important to get down tight in the ball. If I can just show you, if you go to kick the ball, okay, get down as near the ball as you can, eyes open, okay, fingers spread. Right, let's set up the practice. Kieran, you practice blocking from that corner, and we'll have a few people set up to practice kicking the ball. Right, whenever you're ready, Kieran, away we go. Good man. And the last one. Good. Now, he was down in the ball there all the time, a low centre of gravity, eyes open, fingers spread, and that's the key to good blocking in a game. And it gives us a chance to recover possession, and then once we recover possession, we have a situation where we can attack again.
On the break here, Dermot Heaney for Derry. Good pulling away off the ball. Here's Declan Bates in. Great save by McConnell, but done well.
Right, one area of Gaelic football that not a lot of time is spent on is goalkeeping. It's also part of individual defence. What are the important things in goalkeeping in Gaelic football?
One of the most important things would be the reaction.
Okay, right. Here's a little drill here we've set up for reactions. Four footballs. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. When I call the number, you dive and win that ball. Okay, 1. Back to the middle. Leave the ball down. 2. 3. And 4. Okay, well done, well won the ball each time. Now that was easy that time, you knew which ball I was going to call for. This time I'm going to mix up the numbers. 2. 4. Good man, well gathered, well held onto the ball. 1. Very important to hold on to the ball. And 3. Good man, well done, well done.
Here's Dermot Heaney again. Heaney to Johnny McGurk, and McConnell spreads himself magnificently. Oh, a great save by McConnell.
Right, what other areas are important in goalkeeping apart from reactions we just saw?
Well, safe handling and judging the line of flight off the ball.
Right, okay. Could you just show me what you mean by that?
Well, say milling would be in line with the ball, using your positional sense off the post to cut down the angle and make it more suitable for yourself, to your advantage.
Okay.
Well, there's one area there of the aspect that's got to be looked at. It's done quite a few times. I'll let you try that.
Okay.
Body behind the ball at all times as much as possible. Leave no open spaces.
Okay, so that if the ball goes through your hands, it'll at least hit your knees.
Yes.
And if you're moving to one side, is that what you mean by line of flight? Did you move sideways to catch the ball?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, right, let's see him in action here. Good. Body in line of flight at all times. If the ball's coming, good, safe handling. Up onto the chest. Very important to hold the ball. Tap that and round the post. Unlucky. One more. And push round the post again.
Nice play by Crossan, Mark Crossan.
It's very important to be thinking even before you receive the ball, because early decisions give you time, okay? Some people refer to this as anticipation. You see players who are not that fast, the players on the pitch, who seem to be always where the ball is because they have great anticipation. They're making early decisions. Early decisions gives them time to collect the ball and get away. So the first touch in Gaelic football is essential. Get the ball and you get away. If you catch the ball and you drop it to the ground, it takes 1 or 2 seconds and you've got to bend down and pick it up. Even a poor player will be able to mark you if you're going to be doing that sort of thing. But if you can catch the ball cleanly and crisply on the first touch and move the ball away quickly, it's very difficult for an opponent to mark you up. Now here's a practice where we're going to pass the ball to Mark in the centre. We're going to work Mark hard here and we're going to pass him the ball, and he's going to have to receive the ball from different directions. He's going to have to get his body into line of flight. He's going to have to use both hands in his delivery, and he's also going to have to concentrate. He's going to have to concentrate for the whole duration of the exercise, as each one of you people around the outside is going to have to concentrate, because you never know when you're going to receive a ball. Mark takes the ball from one player and he gives it back to a player without the ball. Okay, let's see it in action. Right, first pass. Mark has to keep his concentration. He has to keep his head steady all the time, watching the balls. He has to decide where the ball's going before he even receives it, or as it's on its way to him. And again, talking plays an important part here. If the players can talk to him and give him eyes in the back of his head or on the side of his head. Mark also has to develop peripheral vision. He has to be able to see players up to 180 degrees away. He has to be able to keep his head up at all times, be able to play the ball even while not looking at the ball. Okay, good. Another way of getting free as an individual is to change your pace or change your direction. Now you can do both in this exercise here, where you take a player away from where you want the ball played, and you take the player away and you create the space. So Mickey you'll be taking Eddie away from where you want the ball played, and then you'll suddenly stop and you'll change direction and you'll run, accelerate away towards Gregory, and you'll receive a pass from Gregory. Okay? So you take your defender away from where you want the ball played, you stop suddenly, turn and sprint towards the ball, and hopefully the ball will be played into you. Now you as the forward dictate to the player that's hitting you the ball what angle you receive the ball at and what sort of pace and level by your general ability as you run, okay? So you might want the ball played low or chest high or whatever, but the angle you run at will be the angle that you receive the ball. So you're really dictating the angle that you receive the ball at. But the main priority is to take your defender away, okay? Suddenly stop, change direction and accelerate away towards the space. So you've created the space, you've pulled your defender out of the area, you turn suddenly and you run into the space. Okay, let's try that. Good pass, much better, well done. Mickey's trying to deceive his opponent here with a little trickery. Run towards the ball, create the space behind him, ball played in over the top, and he's through.
Aidan Farrell, he's inside Matt Gallagher. Now to Mickey Linden. Mickey Linden goes the right goal side of his man. He's still in with a chance to box it over the bar.
Right, another way of creating space as an individual is to try and beat your opponent. If you can beat your opponent in Gaelic football, if the rest of your forwards are doing their job, you should have a bit of space in which to pass to another teammate, and certainly you'll have superior numbers, or maybe you might have an opportunity to kick the ball over the bar, or maybe even set up a goal opportunity for your team. Now, there's a number of ways you can beat your opponent. One way of beating your opponent, if you have your back to the goals, as you have sometimes, particularly if you're playing full forward or maybe even a corner forward. And the back, Kieran, if you mark me there, I'll just show you. If the defender's marking you very, very tightly, which happens quite regularly in matches, as you receive the ball, right, Mickey, as you receive the ball, there, your foot steps to one side, okay? So you're rolling on the defender, and you leave the defender for dead, okay? Because the defender is caught flat-footed here. So as you receive the ball, this foot is here, and you're on your next stride and you're away towards the goals. Okay, if I'm right-footed. If I'm left-footed, obviously, if I'm left-footed, this foot goes this side and the next stride is away towards the goals here. That's the first way of beating an opponent. Another way of beating an opponent is a sidestep. Kieran, if you just come out here again, where you run at an opponent, okay, and if I'm right-footed, I dip my shoulder there and I commit the defender that side and I drive off that foot and I'm away this side, okay? Sidestep.
Now he's got to cut inside and get Devlin out of the game. He does that. Here's the chance. Shane King. Yes.
And the third way of beating an opponent is if you have the ball and you're carrying the ball and you're being tackled fairly closely here, and you go to kick the ball there and you tap the ball to yourself and you go this side here and the defender's buying fresh air. Okay? So really it's trickery. It's deceit, if you like. You're trying to fool your opponent as you try and get past him. Go. First pass into Kieran, turns, and a goal. Sidestep. Dip the shoulder and over the bar. And swerve. Carry the ball, change pathways, take the ball through and over the bar. And dummy. Carry the ball through and box it over the bar.
Ger Hula near Armagh, try to drop it in around the house. Somebody get a knock on it. Punched away, comes down here to Justin McNulty, trying to burrow his way through. The defence staying off him, and he holds onto the ball too long. Look at the way the defenders had the discipline to stay off him and not make the foul. Perfectly done by Derry.
Now it's essential not to dive in when you're defending. Too many forwards dive in, commit fouls, and most teams nowadays have a player who can put every free inside 50 over the bar. So it's essential not to commit any fouls. So the secret really of good defence is to try and push the man wide, and when the opportunity develops, every 4 steps he's got to toe tap it, he's got to bounce it. That's the time you tackle, and you tackle the ball. And if you get an opportunity at the end of his play, of when he's kicking it or fist passing it, to block, then you have another opportunity to steal possession. So those are the key areas in defence. So the coach's job is to try and blend all the individual things together, such as shadowing and marking and good talking from the goalkeeper. Blend all those together to have a good defence.
Here's Peter Canavan. Play on, says the referee. He'll go back and examine the damage. All very clumsy. And eventually out of it all comes Micheál McGill.
Right, we'll set up a practice now where we have 3 people attacking, 2 people defending, and with a goalkeeper in the goals. The object of the exercise is for a goal to be scored.
Kieran, closing on them, boys, closing. Come on, Kieran. That's
Well
it.
blocked. Well blocked, John. Good block.
Right, Mark, going with him, Mark, going with him. That's it, watch the back, Mark.
Well blocked. Defensively, we sometimes come up against a situation where we have one extra player to deal with. If one of our players out the pitch, maybe our midfielder, maybe a half-back comes through, we have to try and cope with the extra player. So as a unit of 6 defenders, we'll have to do it. But I'm going to set up a practice here in a second where we have to learn to cope with the extra player coming through. And you have to do that by using all the different things that we talked about before, like restraining, delaying your opponent, stopping them, penetrating your defence. Try and show them wide. Anything that you can, even get them turning if you can, to give your chasing player the opportunity. All players, once they're beaten, should chase back, because if they don't chase back, the team with the ball has numerical advantage and should in theory score. Okay, so when you're beaten on the pitch in midfield or around the half-forward line, you've got to chase back, or indeed anywhere on the pitch, you have to chase back and help out your teammates. If you don't chase back, it's 6 against 5 or maybe 7 against 6 or whatever. So you have to chase back. Now when you're chasing back, it's very important that you chase back, try and go back in a straight line as near to your own goalpost as you can, because the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line. So you've got to try and chase straight back. Hopefully your colleagues in defence will delay the man coming through sufficiently to allow you time to get through. Now, the man coming through, he has to be dealt with. So the nearest man to the man coming through has to take him. Okay? The nearest man to the man coming through has to immediately go and take the man that's coming through. It's up to everybody else to shuffle up a place or two, and it's up to the guy that's chasing to get right back, if necessary, even onto the goal line, if you're defending in a half-court situation or a half-pitch situation. So it's very important that the guy that's chasing back chases right back, and it's very important that the people that's trying to stop the man coming through, the first guy goes to him and closes him down right away. Give him little or no space. Could we set that up now? 5 players here, 5 players down there. Let's have the yellow team attacking down this way here. Let's have the white team defending. Now the yellow team will have Mark playing the ball. Okay, move back a bit. Move out on the pitch. Could we have one white man up here, please? Shane. Right, one ball. Give the ball to Shane. Right. Okay. Shane gives the ball. Let's get this right. Shane's got it. Shane's got to chase back. It's up to the white team to prevent the yellow team from getting a goal down at the lower end. Okay? Shane passes the ball to Mark. Shane's got to chase back all the way, and hopefully the rest of the white team can slow up Mark. You're all right across the line there, boys. Let's have a bit of depth. Have somebody up here. There's a one man up here. Now you got to try and slow them down. Try and prevent them getting down there. It's up to Shane to get back and cover. Are we ready? Right, go! Okay, good. Excellent from the white team. Let's increase the distance to 10 or 12 yards. Really put the defence under pressure. Mickey! Okay, well played. That's fine. It's important in Gaelic football to use up all the space that you're given in a match situation. You must use the full length and the full width of the pitch. Now we're going to do this in a small scale here by just using a small grid 10 yards by 10 yards. And it's important to use the full area that you're given in whether it's in a match situation or whether it's in a practice situation. You must use all that space at your disposal to help you to get scores or to put people into good positions in which they can get scores. Now, in this exercise we're going to have here in this grid, we have 3 players against 1 player. The object of the exercise being that the advantage is with the 3 players around the side of the grid. They have to try and get the passes together without the man in the middle getting the ball. All the passes have to be along the side of the grid. Now, for a person to get a pass, they're going to have to run to a corner, because if they don't run to a corner, the man in the middle will gain possession of the ball, and then we'll turn it over the man in the middle, then we'll go out to the side. Okay? So the point of the exercise is to make sure that when you're in a position, you've got to run wide looking for a pass. Okay? And give the person with the ball a good angle of support. Let's set it up here in this drill. Right, Martin, you go in one corner, Gregory, you go in another, Kieran, you go on this side up here, Colin, you go in the middle. And we had a football, look, please. Right. First passing the ball. Let's see if you can get 10 passes without Connell putting his hand on the ball. Keep the ball in the grid. They must pass the ball along the sides of the grid. In this situation here now, Martin Gavigan has an angle here. He has Gregory here, and he has Kieran here. Ideal situation, okay? But when the ball travels around, you'll see that if Kieran has the ball here, now Connell, he can close him off fairly easily if he comes in here, because he's blocking off Martin Gavigan quite easily. He's blocking off here. But if Gregory runs to that corner there, he uses the full width of the grid. You run to that corner, Gregory, please. And it's impossible for me then. I can't possibly, okay, get to 2 men. I can't get to Martin, I can't get to Gregory, okay? Let's set it up. You guys have to get 10 passes without Connell touching the ball. Go! 1, 2, 3, 4. Good running off the ball, creating a good angle of support. And you can use a dummy if you want. Connell got his hand on the ball, stop. Martin Gavigan, you go into the middle. Out, Connell. This time, let's stick a bit tighter. Let's make the passes along the sides only of the grid. Okay, go. 1, 2. The ball cannot touch the ground. 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got to work hard off the ball here. 7, 8. Come on, you're leaving me. 9. Come on, run off the ball. 10. Okay, after 10, you change the person in the middle. Right, Kieran, you go into the middle this time. It's all about running off the ball, using the full width of the grid, pulling to the side and creating the space. Away we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got to be passing the pass. 6, 7. Good handling's important. 8, 9, 10. A Gaelic pitch is from 80 metres to 90 metres wide. It's 145 upwards in length, so it's important that we use the full width of the pitch and the full length of the pitch. Very often in matches, teams in the forward line in particular, they don't use the full width of the pitch, they don't use the full length of the pitch, with the result that the full forward line maybe start on the 13-metre line, win the ball on the 13-metre line, they're about 40 to 50 yards from goal, 50 metres from goals, and they're no threat. Whereas if they start on the end line and they run out to the ball coming in, they're only 10 or 15 yards from goals, and they're a much bigger threat on the goals. So it's important to have the depth so that we stay right in, particularly the full forward line, and also the half forward line. It's important that these stay in their positions, approximately around the 45-metre line. It's very important to keep your shape always in attack. Very often when a team's in trouble near the end of a game, they lose their shape, particularly in attack. And that's the worst thing that could happen, because it's very difficult to get scores if you lose your shape. So it's very important to keep your shape, to keep the depth, you create space by keeping this depth, and also by using the full width of the pitch from sideline to sideline. Because defenders don't like, ask any of them here, they don't like to be stretched apart. They like to be nice and comfortable, one in front of the other. They absolutely hate 20 or 30 yards to be between them and the next defender. Okay, so the whole point of the exercise is to try and isolate defenders, so that when we as a team attacking beat one, maybe a half-back or a midfielder, then we have lots of space in which to get our head up and look, and gives us lots of options.
That's from Mickey Linden. He's getting a power of ball out in this corner. There's a touch of the 1994s about him again.
So it's very important to use the full width of the pitch and also to use the full depth of the pitch. Okay. Now, could we go off to our positions now, 6 against 6, and we'll play in a few balls using the full width of the pitch and the full depth of the pitch. Right, give it a cunt. Beat him now. Turn right away and beat him. Where you go? Okay, good score. Well played. Right, let's have the first ball of Mickey. So.
All right.
Good use of the width of the pitch and good score.
This new man, Damien Gormley, playing so well. Here's Sean McLaughlin to Kieran McBride. The transfer to McLaughlin outside of his right boot into Canham, and he's got it again. Jody Gormley over the bar. It's sweet football, it looks pretty, and it's most effective.
Another way of creating space is crossover plays. Okay, the important thing in a crossover play is to be able to hold on to the ball and transfer the ball from one player to the other at the crucial time. And if there are two different ways we can use crossover plays. One is if the ball is, we can use it up and down the length of the pitch where the ball is transferred into the player on the inside out of the full forward line. He collects the ball, will have travelled 20 or 30 yards in collecting the ball, and the player immediately opposite him outside, if it's a full forward for example, the centre half forward will immediately run off his shoulder and get the pop-up pass, and he's through. He should be in. Once he collects the ball, he's in for a goal. Up and down the length of the pitch. Now the transfer of the ball is crucial. You don't box the ball hard, you just pop the ball up to him as he's passing. Okay? Pop it up to him as he's passing, and the player coming should be coming at speed, and he leaves the defender flat-footed that's marking the full forward, or leaves him for dead, and that forward should be in for a chance for a goal. Because the space has been created, the full forward is pulled out. Or the corner forward, you can also work with the corner forward. For the ball's played into the corner forward, he's coming out at pace, transfers the ball to the half forward, perhaps even going on an angle to the goal, not necessarily in straight line, going on an angle to the goal, and he's in for a chance of a score. Or it can be used on the far side. And another way of using crossover plays is also across the width of the pitch, where two players carry the ball into a central area and they create space on either side. Because when they carry the ball into a particular spot, two defenders come with them, so there's space on either side of the two forwards. And the ball can be either transferred from one to the other, and that player runs into the space and kicks the ball over the bar. Or the player going in can continue on out the other side. Now the key in this is good communication. Both players have to be on the same wavelength, because they have to know, is the ball being transferred or is it not. It needn't necessarily always be transferred, but the person in possession of the ball has the option to transfer it if they wish. And obviously the person facing the goals has a much better chance of getting a score and is a much bigger threat than the person with their back to the goal. So we should always endeavour to give the ball to somebody who's facing the goals, because they're a much bigger threat to scoring. Right, if we could go please back into our backs and forwards again, and let's play in a few balls and see if we can illustrate this crossover plays. One defender's taken out of it because the pace of the player coming in. Good goal. Right, this time play the ball to the wing half forward. Gregory and Connell, you take it round the other side. Go. All right, well played. Another way of creating space in the forward line is to try and get everybody moving, running, looking for the ball. It's very, very difficult as a back coming out with the ball, or as a midfielder if everybody's standing still. So we need to develop some sort of system in our forward line that will allow the players to move. Now, one system we can use is a four-man rotation, which basically involves all four players moving: the centre half forward, the full forward, and the corner forward, left corner forward, and the left half forward, all move in one place in a clockwise direction. If all those four players move one place in a clockwise, anti-clockwise direction as the ball's coming up this particular wing. It gives the player coming up the wing with the ball, it gives them 4 options in which they can pass the ball to. Now, some one of those options must be good for him at any one time. Obviously he might have a couple of options, so much the better if he has 2 or 3 options. But he should have at least one option in which he can pass the ball, one realistic option in which he can pass the ball to one of his forwards who is moving into space.
Beautifully taken down by Pascal Canavan. Looks in the left corner for his brother Peter. And he's got it. Green is with him, he's tormenting Green. Goes for the score.
Now we're going to set up a practice and we're going to jog through it first of all. The 4 forwards are going to move around in an anti-clockwise direction, and we're going to look at that, and then we're going to use the ball and play the balls in to see how we can get people developing along the same wavelength. So the player coming up with the ball along that particular wing, he will know that his 4 forwards are going to move one place, and some one of them should get free. Right, let's go into position. Away we go. All right, good score. Right. Good ball. Good score. Excellent.
This is John Rafferty chasing player Dermot Heaney. Rafferty's got outside him, he's got Mackin if he needs him. Now he's gone inside him. Now he gives it, Mackin. And out comes the keeper as Mackin goes to floor. It's a penalty.
In attack, sometimes we can use what's called a blindside run or an overlap run, where a player comes up from defence and gives us an extra player. So we have 7 against 6. Sometimes it's a midfielder coming through, sometimes it's maybe a half back. And it gives us an extra player so that we have 7 against 6. And it's important that we use that player and we find that player when they come up the pitch. And we're going to set up a practice to give a forward line a chance to use an extra player, and a defence are going to have to try and cope with the extra player. Well, let's see if we can finish with a score in there. Yellows. Give it in. Yes, good play. Next exercise I want to look at support play. We did a bit of work on support play earlier on, where we were playing the ball into Gregory was playing the ball into Mickey. That was mainly support in front of the ball. I want to look at support coming at from behind the ball, and I want to look at support coming at it with a bit of pace. Now we did it to some degree in the crossover plays there. We're doing some work on supporting each other, and that you were coming in, you were taking the ball. But I want to do it in a more general way now, whereby you play the ball to a player, you take it at speed, he pops it up, you take it at speed, and you play it on to another player. Sometimes you can support a player 2 or 3 times even in the one move to get a score. It's very difficult for defenders to defend against it. I'm going to set up a practice in a second where we have, say, 3 down here, 1 in the middle and 2 up here. I'm sure you've done it yourselves and training umpteen times. Foot pass the ball to the guy in the middle, sprint, take it off his shoulder, play it to the next person down here. So maybe we have enough people here to set up 2 groups. So if we had a 3 down there, 1 in the middle here and 2 up there. So could we set up 2 groups? 1 group along this line here, 3 there, 1 here and 2 there, and 3 or 4 there. Everybody involved. Right, when we're ready, boys, away we go. Try and run as near to the shoulder as you can. The important thing is take it at pace. Try and leave the defender for dead, which will happen in the game. Try and leave the defender flat-footed if you're taking a pass, as you will be in a match, and supporting at speed. Try and keep your head up as you go, so you have the option to pass off or take a score. Very important to keep your head up so you see what's happening around you. Develop your peripheral vision as well. Good mark. Well taken, Patrick. Good man, Kieran. Good ball. Another thing we can do, another drill we can use for support play is not always when you play the ball to a player can you support him yourself. Sometimes your teammate has to support that player. So we're going to set up a practice where 3 players are going to work on the same wavelength and hopefully learn to support each other. It's important when you're supporting a player that you do it at speed, number 1, and you do it off his shoulder. Very important that you do those couple of things. Now the practice is going to set up, we're going to start with 2 players here. We're going to set up a circle, semicircle around here, right the way back to here. 2 players are going to start. 1 player will pass the ball, okay, and the second player, he will support the player who receives the ball. The player who receives the ball will loop around for the next run, okay. I'll show you how it works. There you go, first 2. Loop around behind the person that you give the ball to. Loop around behind them, that's it. On the outside of the circle. Good. That's pace. Loop around behind. Good look. Loop around behind. Good. Keep it going. Keep it going. Right round the circle. Good man, Greg. Good. 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 Now we can introduce more footballs when everybody gets the hang of this, and can be very strenuous activity. Develops a lot of concentration, you got to work real hard.
Peter Riley to Fergal Horton. Horton over to Fintan Cal. Fintan Cal to Dermot McCabe. And that's just the start that Cavan Doctor ordered. Kieran Loughran Tyrone. Nearest Cavan player, John Donnellan. Oh, that's great play by Loughran. Now can he finish it off? Well, there's the answer. It's straight between the white posts. Tyrone in search of their 7th Ulster title. Cavan in pursuit of their 39th. It's Adrian Cush. The little one through to Medlinan. O'Dowd's committed himself. There's a brilliant goal. A wonderful goal with Matty Medlinan postmarked all over it. Medlinan has made a specialty of that. The flicked box score. That was wonderful. Comes off Ronan McGarty to Ross Carr, goes for goal, great save for Connell. Oh, a super shot like Carr. A point was easy for him, but he felt it was a 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and he hit it with power. Knocks down to McBride, he's inside Burns, now he's got 2 assistants. Peter Canavan goes for goal!
This Jimmy, a good old-fashioned up and under. I think Dinky had a wee push here. He makes it through and Peter's on his shoulder. And there's no better person in this position. Right underneath the keeper. Great goal.
Derry on the move again. Great interception. Well read by Dermot McCabe. Nobody's spreading ahead of him. He's got to hold it. He's got no free man, he's got to go it alone. Oh, when you can do it as well as that, why not? Magnificent point by Dermot McCabe. Henry Downey launching another Derry attack, and here's Anthony Toll. What an impressive, imposing sight as he carries it forward, and it's over the bar. A great score by Toll. Up to Peter Riley. Peter goes looking for his brother inside. It's Damien O'Reilly. Damien O'Reilly gets it over to Jason Riley. Jason Riley.
Just when you thought Cavan was out of it, Peter Riley, a long ball. The hop Suits Davy Riley, shows his strength here. Beats Johnny McBride, looks around, Jason Riley slips it under the keeper.
None of the things we did today are of much benefit if you cannot put them into practice. You have to put them into practice. You have to practice. Any player who's interested in becoming a good player in Gaelic football, you just have to go out and practice and go to your local club or your school or your coach or whatever and work with them, and hopefully they'll improve you and make you a better player. Everybody has the potential to be an All-Ireland winner. I mean, in Ulster for years we never had the opportunity for All-Ireland medals at senior level, and over the last number of years we've had a number of successful teams, and there's no reason why we can't have more successful teams in the future. It's all about going out there and performing the basic skills and doing some of the things that I was showing you today, and hopefully in the years to come we're going to have players in the future as we had in the past with All-Ireland medals from Ulster.